of what's happening right now in this world of Corona is that, we're thinking that, this whole self-isolation is about going inwards. And we're saying that we should work on ourselves, about inwards. But all that this entire 4 months, 5 months is showing us is how much outward we should be focusing. So what happens is that when we start going inwards, we start getting a very, very strong sense of self. Start only thinking about ourselves, and hence we become me versus the world. So as soon as we start thinking about others and a sense of compassion starts coming into our lives, all this suddenly changes very quickly. So as soon as we stop being about, how am I feeling, and start asking 5 other people, how are they feeling? The whole game changes completely.
Why glorify your finishing line when you can cherish your halfway mark, right? Namaste everyone, I am Ashdin Doctor and welcome back to the MidVibe. Today I'm in conversation with Ashdin Doctor. He's one of India's leading podcasters, the habit coach, and is also the founder of Awesome 180. To be honest, this is quite a fangirl moment for me because I've been listening to his podcasts for a long time. And I'm so excited, I'm so nervous to have this conversation, and I'm just really looking forward to it. So without further ado, let's get right into this conversation and be awesome because that's what he's here for. Let me just start off by saying, Ashdin, that honestly, this is sort of like a fangirl moment for me because imagine I've been listening to your podcasts for a long time and having you on my platform is it's like a dream come true. So it's damn exciting for me.
Yay! Thank you. I think you're doing a fantastic thing with this kind of podcast. I think I'm quite excited to be part of it. Thank you.
So, Ashdin, this first thing that I really want us to tap into is that the current scenario. So, COVID is still prevalent, and even though it's still prevalent, people are now sort of trying to get back to the normal life, right? People have started moving out. Overall, the situation is getting a bit normalized, but it's still not yet. So we have people, especially youngsters, Netflixing late at night. Then we have working people getting up in the morning and jumping right onto their laptops. So I feel that even though a lot of people are talking about being more intentional and being more aware as to how you can really, make amends in your day-to-day life during this time and really build those habits, being the habit expert that you are, how can we harness our inner potential in a more intentional manner right now?
I think, the important thing is that it all starts with your intention. Everybody started off this lockdown thinking, acha, chalo, chutti, right? Yeah. There is a holiday that has happened now. We're all at home. So let's get into the holiday vibe. What do you typically do on Sundays? And that's what carried on to a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and just continue through the week. And a large part of the habits that you're talking about that people have stuck to, unfortunately, are the habits that you would typically do on a day off. But as soon as we start realizing that it's not a day off, as soon as we start realizing that this is a time of tremendous opportunity, because there is so much that we can do at home, things that we kept complaining about, saying, I don't have the time, now we can finally do. That's when that shift happens. Right. And you have to draw a line in the sand and say, bus, enough of this masti. Now let's start moving on to doing something else. And that shift, when I've seen it in clients or people, has been just tremendous.
But how do we bring about that shift? Because that shift is the most difficult part, right? So how do we bring about that?
You have to realize that it's not going anywhere. As soon as you say lockdown is ending, that means that there is a time that afterwards I will not be able to sit at home and Netflix at late at night. Right? Yeah. As soon as you say that, lockdown's ending in the next 5 minutes, 5 days, 10 days, you won't be able to. So then come on, let me, dabaw on the chocolate cake that I'm making or the banana bread that I was making. That social media is full with banana bread recipes. So that's the idea. Yeah. If you think that lockdown is here to stay for 6 more months, do you want to live like this for the next 6 months? If yes, then please continue. Right?
That's
if
the
no,
question.
Then start making the Don't start looking at it as a short-term thing. Think about it the rest of your life. What if the world shut down for 2 years like this? There was no vaccine. Every vaccine was wrong. What would you do? Right? Now start thinking like that and you will stop making these these choices. Netflix, of course, a little bit. It's important.
Yeah,
But where are your priorities?
that's right. Right. And also, I feel like what personally worked for me was that, again, the shift was the difficult part. And while I always had that small seedling in me to be a better version of myself from what I am the day before, obviously, being at this age when we're surrounded by social media and so many temptations, it's sort of difficult to get past that shift. So, what worked for me was that this one day during this lockdown, I was done with Netflix. I was done with Instagram. I just had it all. No, I was like irritated.
You finished everything on
No,
Netflix?
I was frustrated, not finished. But I was like done in the sense like mentally and emotionally done with it. Right? And I was like, kab tak? Again, what you said, kab tak kar loge tum? So I sat down with a piece of paper and I wrote down 2 to 3 things, only 2 to 3, not like a list or something, but I just wrote down like 2 to 3 things that I definitely want to achieve. And एक होता है दिमाग में सोचना और एक होता है लिख कर देखना. When you write it, ना, it's more real. And then you're just like, shit, मुझे ये 3 चीजें करनी है, तो अब तो बेटा शुरू हो जाओ. So that's what worked for me. So I hope people can really get this awareness and bring it into their consciousness and ask this question कि कब तक करोगे तुम ये? कब तक?
Kab tak? And what are your intentions? So you wrote down 3 things, right? So those are the 3 important things for you.
Yeah. Right.
So that's how you work on it.
So tying what we just spoke about, that you need to be more aware and be conscious and ask yourself, kab tak kar loge tum ye? There is still a major chunk of population out there, especially in the 16 to 30, 35 age group, wherein these set of people, they feel so mentally pressurized when they see such content on their platform. When they see people talking about motivation, inspiration, how to be more intentional, habits, and these set of people, this particular set of people, they feel really pressurized because firstly, they aren't aware themselves. Secondly, when they come across such content, they sort of get really intimidated because they know that this version doesn't match with what they are. And then they don't accept that content, right? So the cycle keeps repeating. And you must be coming across such people in your work too, people who sort of deny the importance of engaging in good habits. So how do you tap into such people's mindsets? How do you change their attitude and really help them understand the significance of these habits and routines such that it's in resonance with their vibe?
So honestly, so there's a brutal honest answer, and then there's a second answer. Okay, the brutal honest answer is you let them be, right? Because it's their vibe, right? Like you said, let them be. They're not in that state of mind right now. Who are we to force them to change? It's not like just because we've seen the light, we have to show other people, because then we become nags. It is not our job to become nags, right? It is our job to show a way. Come join me, follow me if you feel like, come with me on this path. If not, whenever you're ready. See, the problem is that when we start thinking that, oh, this is the best way and we need to now show everyone, that's when people actually start moving away from you because they're like, kitna batayega, right? I've had this happen to me because and everyone who starts off on this journey of self-improvement, self-development goes through this phase. Because suddenly, the first few months or years of this, you see a 75% jump in who you used to be. Right? And then you say, wow, I wish everybody did this. And then you go about telling everyone. You tell your mom, you tell your dad, you tell your friends, you tell your son. And then be like, hey, yaar, how much are you saying this? How much are you saying this? Shut up, no. So you don't want to become that kind of a person. So when they are ready, they will join. When they are ready, they will. That's one answer. The second answer is that if the stuff about motivation and self-improvement and all those things that you see on social media is troubling you in some way, the question you should ask yourself is, why is it troubling you? Right? What lack are you feeling in yourself that somebody doing better than you or somebody doing something that is good is affecting you in this way?
Right.
So at least do that introspection and saying, why is this bothering me? Is it that because I'm not doing it? Is it a question of FOMO? Is it a question of something else? You're going to
Okay.
have consistency issues.
Okay. No, that's fine. I understand the network issues are really bad. Another thing that I wanted to point out at this was that, so instead of comparing yourself with that person, instead introspect and then ask
Correct.
yourself this. Yeah. That's the key point. I think people start to compare and then they even go further down.
A big aspect of what's happening right now in this world of Corona is that, we're thinking that, this whole self-isolation is about going inwards. And we're saying that we should work on ourselves about inwards.
Yeah.
But all that this entire 4 months, 5 months is showing us is how much outward we should be focusing. Because
How
everything
exactly?
is drawing you out. So what happens is that when we start going inwards, we start getting a very, very strong sense of self. Right? We start only thinking about ourselves, and hence we become me versus the world. Our bodies and minds and hormones weren't designed for me versus the world because we were designed as social animals. So
Right.
as soon as we start thinking about others and a sense of compassion starts coming into our lives,
That way,
all this suddenly
yes.
changes very quickly. So as soon as we stop being about, how am I feeling, and start asking 5 other people how are they feeling, the whole game changes completely. Right?
Definitely,
Every
yeah.
single thing that we've seen in the last 48 hours, with Beirut blowing up and a plane crashing, and now something else happening somewhere else, and floods, it's
Yeah.
all trying to draw you out, saying that A, learn how lucky you are, B, think about others. It's all, if you
Wow.
see it that way, this
Yeah.
doesn't seem like such a bad thing. You can count your
True.
blessings and you can live for others.
And I think, like you said, if you go more outwards, we're also at the same time drawing our attention subconsciously towards our inner self also, like because we're being more compassionate, like you said, be compassionate, be kind to 5 more people, and that way you're actually, like, I don't know how to
Correct?
explain this, but
Because you get gratitude, right? You're saying that,
yeah.
wow, okay, I'm so, I can empathize with what's going on there, but I'm so lucky that this is not happening to me, right?
Right.
Thank God we weren't in Beirut. Thank God we're here. Thank God, we start then understanding just how lucky we are.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's a very bad way that the universe is teaching us this, but at least let's learn something new.
Exactly. Rather than cribbing about what's wrong, let's focus on the rights of it. Right.
Yeah.
That's
Or
a
see how we can learn
crazy.
something.
Hmm. That was a crazy mind shift in myself right now when you said that. Look outwards instead of inwards, because it's so prevalent. Every one of us keeps saying that. Look inwards, go dig down, dig inwards. Interesting.
Correct. And I said that for the first week till I realized that everyone was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse on this inward journey. Because unless you're a monk or you've practiced that inward journey, starting it off from scratch is traumatizing. So there's no point going to trauma unless someone's guiding you through it. So instead of that, look out, see what's happening in the world. How much can you be one with this tree? How much can you be one with your neighbor? And then start thinking about it. There's always time to
That's
go
so
inwards.
true. Definitely, yes. Yeah, that's another side that we
And
must talk
Netflix is not going inwards.
about. Yeah, that's true. Tell me about Awesome 180. How did you come about with this idea?
So Awesome 180 started off with it started off with this whole idea saying that why are people struggling with change? What is happening? Right? And then you start realizing that people struggle with change because they try to make a change hard. They try to make something big. They try to make something dramatic. And dramatic stuff takes time, but we only see the end results in people. So we said, oh, I'm also going to do that. If he's doing 45 pull-ups, I also need to be doing 45
Yeah.
pull-ups. If he's working 18 hours a day, I also need to be working 18 hours a day. And hence we give ourselves these goals, and hence we never end up achieving any of these things. So change doesn't take place. Plus, we start feeling like a loser because, how can they do it, but I can't do it. So this whole goal of habit coaching started from this idea, saying, can we make change simple and small and see how it grows with time, compounds over time, instead of trying to say, 20 kilos in 2 months. Can I teach you of nutrition, for example, that lasts you your entire lifetime, so you don't need me, and hence start bringing that change around. So Awesome 180 is all about getting your fundamentals in place. Your fundamentals include nutrition, movement, sleep,
Okay.
de-stressing, hydration, and breathing. So I believe that if you want to create this awesome life, you need to get this foundation in place now. If you want to build a building, you have to dig
Right.
deep and create a foundation in order to build that building. So this is the
Yes.
same idea here. So can we create this foundation and use the habits for each of these things? And the idea of the 180 was 180 days to make this. So it's a
Oh,
6 months
okay.
journey. It wasn't turning around 180 degrees. And the idea was in 180 days, can we do something like this? So that's
What
how Awesome
inspired
180 started. So it was a part of my journey that I was on. So my family business is market research, consumer understanding.
you?
So
Okay.
I had not been in this whole wellness, health space at all.
Mm,
But I was in a very, very bad shape about 5 years ago. I
okay.
was massively stressed. I slept 4 hours or maybe less a night,
Mm-hmm.
overweight, had a nice big tummy. And one day before going to a presentation, I collapsed on the floor.
Okay.
And all of this had piled onto me and it broken me. And that's when I realized that, something has to change. Just like I was telling you, if you had told me to make these changes before this incident, I would not have listened to you. Like we were
Mm,
discussing earlier in this interview. But
yes.
I'm saying
Yes.
that because I decided that something has to change. I can't live life like this. I started looking for ways in that change could take place.
Mm.
And being the typical type A person that I was like, okay, so now from Tavi, what do I have to do? I have to get a six pack. So the goal was, how do I get six pack? How do I get abs?
Yeah.
And the journey started off from there. It started off from saying, okay, if I have to get abs, I need to focus on my exercise. Chalo, let's start exercise. And then you
Mm.
realize exercise not enough. Then you say, okay,
Yeah.
chalo, then what do I need to do? Nutrition. All right, chalo, let me learn everything about nutrition that there is.
Yeah.
So I think I must have read about 25 books in that first year itself. So like figuring out nutrition and what are the eating principles and tried every single diet. Then I was like, oh, sleep is also important because people saying sleep boosts testosterone, sleep increases
Yeah.
stress. So that's how I started figuring out it was these 6 fundamentals that
Mm-hmm.
once I made this change, dramatically improved my life. And the intention behind starting this whole journey later on was it started off with that whole six-pack goal,
Mm.
but the end intention was I never want to be scared of my body again. And once I
Mm.
could figure that part out, saying I never want to be scared of my body again, all of it tied back in saying, all right, so now I figured, how to crack creating this foundation and then building up from there.
Right. Wow. And again, this again reminds me of this question that I constantly reiterate and I constantly talk about is that ask yourself, what are you afraid of? So, like, you were afraid of having that body again or that health, and that's why you did something about it. So, ask yourself, what are you afraid
Correct.
of? What do you think is difficult for you, and then do something about it, and get out of that
Absolutely.
complacent and that laid back
Get
zone.
out of that zone. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's so true.
You
Yes.
know, and
Can
then
we?
and then you take it and turn it into a business, right? Like how do you
Uh-huh.
move from there to the next step? Because there is intention in that. But at the end of the day, if there's something that you want to do, you have to create a business around it. And one of these lovely lines that I heard from Robert Kiyosaki, the guy who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Okay.
said
Okay.
something, and it's a post-it note on my mirror here. It says, "What does God want done?"
Hmm.
Right? Every time, if you feel lost, ask yourself, "What does God want done?" God,
Hmm.
universe, spirit, world, whatever you want to call it. But what
Hmm.
does the universe want done? Right? And if you say that
Yeah.
your universe wants, all right, healthy people, happy people, how can I do that? And you immediately start making a shift saying that, oh, it's a mental shift. It's not about kitna paisa kamana hai. That'll happen, I know. But it is about what does the world want, right?
Hmm.
And if you can create that, life changing.
Yeah.
So, I have a phrase that I call stop salmoning. Salmons swim upstream, right? They're the only fish that swim upstream.
Okay.
So they go against the current. And I keep telling people that, you have to learn that when there's a flow going, go with the flow. Why are you trying to be a salmon if you're not a salmon?
That's
Correct? So
so
learn
cool.
to go with
Yeah.
and you will see that life's pulling me in this direction. All right, fine, let's see what's there. Life's pulling me in this direction. All right, let's see what's there. So don't be married to your ideas, your preconceived notions, etc. Go with the flow and see. As soon as you stop the struggle, and think about it, when I mean by samening is that you're struggling, right? You're swimming upstream. But if you are not a good salmon, you're going to stay in the same place because the river's coming this way and you're always going to be frustrated and in the same space. Instead, go with the flow, see where it's taking you. And I've always noticed that is one of the best ways to live.
You know what? I'm going to make a post of this and I'll give you the due credits for this, definitely. But this is going up on the MidVibe page. With your name under it, with full credits. This is really
Make me one of the salmons, like, or the other fish going down.
You know what? I'll do that. I'll ask one of my graphic designers to do that.
Don't put a goatee on the salmon, all right? Just like no French beard on the salmon.
Definitely, I will. Okay. Coming back to, again, being intentional. I think that's what the theme is about right now for me. That's what my zone is right now. With this, again, scenario, how can we be more joyous in our work? And I'm not like asking you for like tips or anything, but like from your perspective, how can we see work not as work, but really as a playground and really enjoy it? Because even though people say, do what you love, do what you're good at, after a time, everything gets monotonous, right? Everything becomes an economic activity after a point. So how can you really get past that and really enjoy your work, make it more playful?
So there are two things. One is not all work is going to be playful. Sometimes you are in a job that is not playful, right? You might be a customer service rep who's getting 35,000 galis every single morning. That is not playful. Okay, so understand that job serves a purpose, which is getting money and food on your table. And then be grateful that you have that job right now when people are losing. So that is one kind. But you get the joy, the playfulness in other aspects of your life. So what you do is you create your hobbies. You create your side hustles. See, what the problem is right now is a lot of people are not cultivating hobbies. The idea of hobbies has become, my dad used to do stamp collecting. How boring. I don't do that. Right? But hobbies were designed to keep our minds active. Hobbies were designed to keep our hands active. And we are not doing those things. So as a result, devil's playgrounds are happening in our heads because there is either work or so we have to find things and part of our life that give us that joy and pleasure. So if your job is your passion, is something that gives you joy, gives you muscle, and over a period of time you've been doing so much of it that has become a pain. Like I was giving the example of a person who loves baking, who's become a baker, and you've made 25,000 cakes now, and you're like getting bored of it. That's when the trouble starts, because you started off in full josh and joy, and now you're no longer enjoying it. The trick here is to learn to challenge yourself. Remember what you like about things, which is why you find some of the most creative, for example, bakers and food people experimenting constantly, because that's what keeps them alive. So for them, the monotonous stuff is the daily 75% of the cakes that are made that are the same. But it's the 25% that are interesting, vibrant, that they look up to, they look forward to. Right? So how do you keep challenging yourself in your work so that you don't lose a sense of joy and monotony doesn't set in? So I would say that the way to get out of this is to keep challenging yourself in different aspects of the business instead of just thinking sales numbers, or something else. That way.
Got it. So basically just how can you be better than what you were? Again, my mantra is how can I be better from the way I was before, the day before. So I think, again, ask yourself, how can you be different from yesterday? That's all. Keep focusing on that and try to engage, explore.
In every way, I'm getting better and better.
Yeah.
Right? That's every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. That was my dad's tip to me every time I was sick. So he would come and say, Bach, how are you feeling? I was like, no, every day in every way I'm feeling better and better. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Same thing in life.
Exactly, yes. So, Ashton, before I wrap up this conversation, what is your vibe at this point of your journey where you are?
Okay, so the current vibe is that of massive growth. If you had asked me this question about 3 months ago, I would have said that gratitude and compassion are the two big things that are my vibe at that point of time.
Mm-hmm.
However, I firmly believe when you see the masses doing something, try doing the opposite. So if everyone is at this moment shutting down, conserving energy, go big, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
do the opposite of what people are doing, the chances of your success and growth grow up dramatically. So the
Mm-hmm.
chance of failure also go up, but that's something that you can think about. So right now I have one purpose in mind, which is how can I grow as fast as possible? And how do I see all of this instead of something that is going bad with the world to see something that is going as an opportunity? And in that regard, there are many friends of mine, industrialists, who have a very negative view on the current situation. How can
Yeah.
the government be doing this? How can people be doing that? How can we? In my mind, I'm not listening to them for the next 2 months.
Okay.
In my mind, I've shut them off and I'm like, all right, that is your deal. That is what you are doing. Right
Yeah.
now, I have one focus. How can I maximize everything that I'm doing? And I have been thoroughly enjoying this process. It started, I think, about 3 weeks ago, and I'm having a blast. So, like I don't know if I was telling you this, but for example, since the lockdown started, our Instagram page has grown by double
Yeah.
or more.
Yeah.
The podcast listenings have increased fairly dramatically. I'm almost taking on no more new clients because I don't have the bandwidth anymore. So how can we now grow? We got a no sugar challenge program that started up.
Yeah.
Our habit coaching app is going to be launching. We
Wow.
have
Okay.
a 14-day fat loss challenge that started on the Sarva app. So all these
Mm.
things happened in these 4 months,
And
right?
your
Now tell
Sunday
me,
sessions?
and my Sunday sessions are fun. That is just musty. So every
Yeah.
Sunday, I basically invite whoever wants to join me for coffee to come sit and we do our meetups, right? But that is
Yeah.
just for fun because I love interacting with people, and it's not a work-related thing at all. It's just musty
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and it is just exploring like that, looking for opportunities. Will everything work out? No. For example, there was a fitness business that was just barely doing okay, which I shut down.
Mm.
And because I
Okay.
realized that it's not going to happen at this point of time. But then you
Mm.
focus your energies elsewhere. So you start making
Mm.
these changes and looking at it instead of saying that no, 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 I will pump in more energy to this, more money to this, and see how it grows. Keep flowing, keep flowing. And then there
Keep
is an
flowing.
opportunity, rush with it.
Mm. Yes.
So yeah, that's my vibe right now. Grow, 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 grow.
Wow. So I think everyone who's listening, don't be a salmon, be awesome, and
I
listen
like
to
that.
his podcasts because like I'm not again saying this out because I've been listening to it, but definitely no jokes. Genuinely speaking here, that your podcasts, especially, I mean, I would say that when I started listening to podcasts, I always had this list of podcasts that were all international, like US, UK based. And then there are podcasts from India who are doing so well. And it makes me so happy to see that Indian podcasters are finally getting that space that, we've been lacking for a while. So definitely, I am so happy that I got in touch with you and that
Thank you.
I had this conversation with you. It means a lot to me.
Best of luck for your podcast, for your videos. I think it's going to be fantastic. Just keep it up, keep inspiring people.
Thank you so much. And I think that's all. So I'll see you guys next week with another episode. Till then, stay awesome and don't be a salmon. I hope you gathered some key takeaways from this conversation. If you did, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give us a review, keep going, embrace your vibe. Until next time, thank you, take care.